Welcome to Manufacturing Matters, the podcast where we shine a spotlight on Alaska's makers, doers, and innovators. I'm Sami Jo.
And I'm Megan. We're here to share the incredible stories of Alaska's manufacturers and the industry experts helping them thrive.
This show is brought to you by the Alaska MEP, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, helping manufacturers across the state to innovate, grow, and stay competitive.
So each episode, we will bring you conversations with the people behind the Alaskan-made products, the challenges that they face, and the solutions that keep moving them forward. We'll also chat with the industry experts who provide insights, tools, and strategies to help those manufacturers succeed.
So whether you're a maker yourself, a supporter of the local industry, or just curious about what goes on behind the scenes, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
A fish.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much, Erik, for joining us. We've got a great discussion planned ahead, and we're just super excited to be here. So first off, let's chat about you, Erik. Can you give us a little bit of your background, your role, and Beadedstream? And for people that don't know what Beadedstream is, kind of how it got started.
Yeah, definitely. So my name's Erik Williams. I'm born and raised in Alaska and went to UAA here and studied mechanical engineering. And I sort of focused on robotics and automation there. I ended up doing project management out of state down in Denver and then came back to join Beadedstream. So Beadedstream, we manufacture sensors and data loggers and web systems so that people can get their environmental data easily. And what we've really focused on is temperature, especially in the Arctic. It's really important to understand the permafrost that's underneath our schools, our airports, our oil and gas, our mining. All of our infrastructure is built on permafrost. So that's where we focus.
Yeah, which is super interesting. And like, what a niche industry.
Exactly. How did you get brought into Beadedstream?
Yeah. So the company started 21 years ago by Brian. He was a geotechnical engineer and just in the dirt measuring temperatures. And he's like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And over the years, he created everything that Beadedstream is today. But how I got brought on was actually because Beadedstream was the first company to invest actually in UAA's robotics club. When we started the robotics club, we reached out to a bunch of local engineering companies and organizations and said, we need money to be able to build these robots. And Beadedstream was the first one. So they ended up hiring some people out of the robotics club. And as my family and I wanted to move back to Alaska, we were still in connection. And Beadedstream got reintroduced into my life.
That's amazing.
What a
great connection.
I know. I love that. I didn't know this story. And I feel like I've known you for so long now, right? Because of like data and things. That's very cool. Wow. Long time. 21 years.
Yeah. Very long.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah. How is it? So when did you get brought on?
In 2020. So I started in the very beginning of 2020 before the pandemic hit. And yeah, that was a wild first year here. Yeah.
How have things changed like since you have been on? And I mean, we did go through a pandemic, so that's like a really huge change in itself already. Absolutely. So what are the biggest shifts that you've seen in these last 5 years?
Oh, there's so many. It feels like the supply chain is always shifting. That's like the biggest one, especially when you're talking about like integrated circuits and electrical supplies. So many things are going obsolete, or like maybe a big automotive company is now all going to be buying a certain type of sensor, and that's none is left for the little guys like us. Another one is we didn't really have the robust data insights and dashboarding that we have with Beaded Cloud now. So all of our sensor data was getting brought up to customers and they could see some charts, but now we can do a lot more with the data that customers are getting.
Cool. Huge.
Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit about being based in Alaska, how it shapes the approach to manufacturing and then unique challenges or disadvantages that it definitely comes with, as Alaska is such a unique destination?
Yeah, it really is a unique destination. And especially when we're working with people that are out of state and sometimes even in state, they're surprised to learn that we're here. I'd say shipping is always a big challenge. For us, we do such high value, small, compact items that it's not necessarily the dollar amount that is a big deal, but a lot of times our customers want things really, really quickly. And it's like shipping is like 24 hours delay on every little thing that you want. So that makes it a little bit difficult being up here. In some ways, though, I feel like we have a lot of an advantage, especially with the relationship with the university. We still donate to the robotics program there, and we still get a lot of students that come through that. Having the university and being some of the few manufacturers in electronics up here means that a lot of people want to work with us. And so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's super cool. Great partnership.
That's a great partnership. Can you dive deeper into how you guys are utilizing the relationship with the students and the robotics team and kind of what they're delivering for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, they're delivering people who have the experience building things. So a lot of times when you're going through school, you're learning so many things conceptually in classes, but it's only like through the clubs that you get the experience of like, what is it like, even just using a drill? Like you don't have a class where you're using a drill as an engineer, but you have to do that all the time if you're in the robotics club. So yeah, I would say that's definitely one of the things that we're getting back from those people is some of that experience.
Back that expertise. Do you end up hiring a good amount of the robotics students that you end up working with?
Yeah, I wish we could hire more. That would be amazing. But yeah, currently we have a couple of people that did the robotics program. So Dawson Packer and Will Lamb that are working with us. But yeah, I wish we could hire so many more.
No, that's amazing though. And that's a great opportunity to get those people on your team though, to help grow your team. And you already kind of have that in. So that's an amazing partnership to have.
And they're so much smarter than us. Like when I was that age, like I didn't know anything about robotics and they come in with all of this knowledge. It's wild. No.
Yeah, that's amazing. Right. Use the youth, like let's shape the future too.
And they're hungry to learn and they're excited for the hands-on opportunities. So
yeah,
that's amazing. So I want to talk in a little bit about scaling business growth. You recently expanded manufacturing capabilities in Anchorage. Can you dive into kind of what prompted that decision and what advice would you give to manufacturers also looking to maybe scale their operation?
Yeah, I guess maybe we'll start off with the advice is run the numbers, do the math to see what you're going to get out of it from a dollar standpoint, because if it's profitable to move manufacturing over, we were previously in China to here, then that's a great thing to do. I mean, there's obviously going to be tactical and strategic reasons as well, but running a business, it all comes down to the money at the end of the day. What we ended up doing is we brought our cable manufacturing line from China over here, and we couldn't just do it the same way that they were doing it, which was a lot of like, hand cutting and opening and hand soldering and all of this stuff. We had to do a ton of automation. And this is actually great that we have all of these robotics students who are learning about automation and how to do those sort of things. So now customer data about how their cables are designed comes down from Beaded Cloud, and it actually runs on the machines, the factory app that we have. And the cable gets processed through with all sorts of different little stepper motors and everything.
Wow.
So, that's super cool.
Yeah. So cool. No, and necessary too with like workforce shortages. You're talking really technical advanced positions, which are harder to fill. Amazing. Yeah. And needed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
What prompted the decision to be like, I mean, obviously running the numbers, super smart, but like what made you guys kind of look into that and be able to pause and take the time to like, hey, let's see if we can bring it here. Like what prompted those big decision makers?
I think it came down to the time of delivery for our products for our customers. When we're shipping in China or when we're manufacturing in China, there would always be that shipping delay. Either we have to ship materials to them, then they do the manufacturing, then they ship back to us. And we had customers that were like, hey, we need a cable in this hole, like in the next 48 hours. Like, what can you do for us? And so that was a big gap for us. We used to work weekends and we would make something called Frankenstein cables where we piece together all these things. And now we can deliver those sort of cables and they're beautiful and flawless. Yeah, onshoring has been amazing for us because it's allowed us to innovate on our process so much more than what we were doing before too.
Yes, love that.
Amazing.
How now also with all these tariffs and everything else? I mean, you guys jumped the gun. You were already one step ahead.
Right.
Do you know how much of an impact that would have had on your business?
Yeah, I mean, whatever the current tariff rate for sure. We
A
still
lot.
do get a lot of raw materials manufactured in China. I think pretty much everything that everybody has comes from
Yeah.
China, unless maybe it's food or something. But yeah, so we are still getting hit with some of those cost impacts, but yeah,
Mm.
we're saving a bunch in that regard. I hadn't even really thought about that too much with everything going on, but that's a great point.
Right. You
Yeah.
were really a step ahead, a few steps ahead, it sounds
Mhm.
like, to really have that all figured out and honed in, and you kind of definitely missed out on that, which was a really good thing.
I would
Mhm.
say too, like how important it is to have your eyes on the process to be able to be innovative and to make the changes, make it more efficient. Like you have control over the manufacturing,
Yeah.
not it's in a whole nother country.
Waiting and waiting.
Right, right. And then you have to deal with those problems as they come, and then you're dealing with the shipping issues already. And so good move.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
When it came to running the numbers, were you guys able to do that internally, or did you guys work with somebody to help make sure that this was the right move for you?
Yeah, we did it all internally. That was some of the projects for some of our engineers was to let's do a full cash flow analysis. And it's kind of hard because they're always trying to consider like mechanical design and that sort of thing. And now they have to focus on the numbers. But yeah, it was just a massive spreadsheet. We looked at all the different costs of equipment and how much we thought we could save on processing time and everything. And it turned out at the end of the day from our calculations that we're going to be about break even. Like it made not too much of a difference. But since we've brought everything here, it's actually been even better than that because we were able to make those process improvements that we hadn't even foreseen before. And not just process, but also product improvements.
Mm.
Yeah.
No more Frankenstein wires, but I did love that you were able to still pivot in that time too and provide that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And made in Alaska, like
Right.
Arctic, and it's for the Arctic. Like that's
Yep.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. We are very focused on the Arctic, but we get calls for all sorts of things. So we did like some work in Florida for a net zero home. We've done geothermal down in Utah, and then chloral bleach monitoring. It's so wild. Like we make something that's hardy for the Arctic, and then it can work most places in the world after that.
How are these people how are they finding you? Because
Right.
wasn't your messaging really about the Arctic?
Like that is a really great question. And I think for all of those examples, I actually don't know how they found us. A lot of our outreach does go through, it's like face to face. So our
Mm.
customers are recommending us to other customers. And yeah, we are going to conferences and meeting with people. But it's kind of hard in the instrumentation industry for people to move from their existing solution, where that's someone sticking a temperature in the ground and like reading it off, writing it down in a notebook, to something else like what we have, where it's just fully automated and sending the data real time so you can sit on your couch. Yeah.
Yeah, change.
Change.
Mhm.
Yep.
Change is hard for people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we need those types of advancements, and it just takes time. There's like a bell curve when it comes to those like first adopters, and then people start to catch on. And yeah, I think
Mhm.
once people realize like how much time and energy and effort you can save, those types of investments are just like, yes. Why
Makes
wouldn't
sense.
why wouldn't I have a robot telling me the data?
That actually is a great question that segments right into technology, which we wanted to talk to you about. I feel like technology has keep changing, and I want to know how it's changed your guys' business model and what strategies do you see AI playing in the future of manufacturing with you guys, or just
Mm.
in regards to that? Because it feels like such a hot topic right now is
Yeah.
AI.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you can't you can't read anything nowadays without seeing AI in it or being written by AI itself. Um, but yeah, one thing that we do to embrace technology is we have an application that we wrote and designed called the Factory app. And that is what guides our technicians through each of the processes, as well as make sure that things are quality. The sensors are in their order, the cables are calibrated, all of that. So I think building those sort of applications is going to get easier and easier as like AIs are more capable, and people of all sorts who are doing manufacturing will be able to bring the AIs onto the factory floors to help them build the products better. For us, we're seeing more and more customers that are asking higher level questions. Instead of just asking, hey, what's the temperature at this level in the ground? They're saying, hey, when can I harvest my potatoes? And those sort of questions take a lot of different data sources that come in. And I can definitely see AI sort of helping to bring these data sources together to give those answers to people. Because no one really cares about the temperature. You care about, I mean, is it going to be cold? Should I put on a jacket? That's
Right.
that's the real answer you want. You don't really care about the temperature.
Right.
Yeah.
The deeper question kind of within
Yeah.
of like, what the temperature is going to do for me and my potatoes, like you had said, or if I'm going to want a jacket and that sort of thing. So really kind of taking that almost a step further.
Yeah. I like
Exactly.
the ag route too, just because food security is also really hot right now. And I think any efficiencies that can be made in our farming, our harvesting, like that's going to be huge, not only for Alaska, but as a nation, just so we can strengthen our supply chain and have more of that food for our nation. Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
to continue on that, like we have a customer we're working with right now who is monitoring grain spoilage in silos, like all across the United States, and they're putting temperature cables into these silos to make sure that stuff isn't going to spoil. And especially as weather gets hotter and more humid and all of that, those sort of things are important to understand.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. Again, not Arctic.
Right. I know, really like taking this step further. That's where you started. And it's crazy you're getting calls from everywhere. That just shows like how innovative your product really is. And it's really resonating with people outside of even where you guys thought it would go.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's amazing. So can I ask what strategies you guys have used to stay competitive in this niche, especially in, like your temperature control models? Like, is there anything that you're using to really kind of stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, I think it comes from a really good relationship with the customer and listening to exactly what they need. So if they say, oh, I need a label to be right here, then you just say, yeah, sure, we'll do that for you. And I think a lot of bigger organizations don't really have that luxury to know their customers as well. And so we're able to adapt and meet the needs of them a lot better. That's kind of actually how we came up with the first satellite data logger. Was we used to just leave the cables in the field with a logger, and then customers were like, well, now I don't know what's happening. What if, the battery died or a fox chewed through the cable? So we came up with a way so that people could see their data live, but it's through listening to those customers.
Love that.
So really taking in that advice and like hearing what they need and then meeting them with the solution.
Smart.
You had a question you wanted to dive into.
I think it was really just that manufacturing line in Alaska, which we brought back. That was a huge loan that you guys took out with Alaska Growth Capital and SBA, and how I would love. I mean, we already kind of talked about how much of an impact that was. It wasn't really. It was kind of even across the board. I mean, I think that was super advantageous to just be made here locally. Yeah. So I have no further questions.
Can I ask when you were awarded that?
Yeah, that was last year, actually, about I think in March of last year. Yeah, it was pretty exciting. Wow. They required that we also purchase the building that we're in order to do the loan. So that's like why it was so big, because we were like, we only want this amount, and they're like, we have to give you this much money. Yeah.
We're like, okay.
Yeah.
That's good though. I mean, that's a big investment for a company. Like now you have your own space. You guys have your own manufacturing facility. Do you still have extra space? Or are you filling it in? How's that going?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. We actually have other tenants in our building. So we're like, oh, we don't want to kick them out, but we could really use another like pallet rack for storage. So it's kind of a negotiation there, and we're really doing fine with the space. We think we could be here for a few years more if we keep growing at this pace. Yeah.
Nice. That's good. I think that's good. You have to fill in your area.
Right. Yeah, the access capacity. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
In just 1 year, it sounds like there's been a huge difference and impact that's been made.
Oh yeah. It's been wild. I mean, we've hired multiple technicians to join us. I mentioned earlier that we changed the product a little bit. It doesn't look any different from the outside, but we're able to like change the circuit board so that way we can move the manufacturing process, which is top secret, from a minute per sensor down to 15 seconds.
What?
Holy cow.
Wow, that is huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about making it more efficient. Holy cow. That's just saving you so much time. Like right there.
I know, that's a lot. Great. Okay, so now that it's been 1 year, you have your manufacturing line happening here. I want to go back to the robotics club. Is it different now that you have your line here with what you do with them versus when you didn't have your line here?
Yeah. One thing that's weird about the robotics club, I mean, it's not weird, it's just how clubs are, is they're kind of like a phoenix in the way. They like grow and then like everybody graduates and leaves, and then it's like a whole new baby club again. And that seems to like go through that process over and over again. So like I really want to get out there and get to know this new group of students that are there, and introduce them to all of this. But a big part of like going to school and getting educated in Alaska, I feel like is also the desire to want to leave in a way and want to explore the world. So we just want to like show people that want to go, work for Google or whatever, that they can come back and there's cool stuff that we have here. That's what brought me back, was there's cool jobs here in Alaska.
Yeah, and you get to be in Alaska.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that it snowed this morning, but we're pre-recording this episode April 7th.
Yep.
Snow?
April 7th, snow. We were a little bit sad. We woke up this morning, but Alaska still is a hot destination.
It's already melted off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hot after. And you have that story that you can share personally.
Yeah.
Brought you back. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
There's no better place to raise kids, in my opinion. That was, important for us.
Love that. Are you in Anchorage?
Yeah. Anchorage, Alaska. We're actually on King Street. If you know where like King Street Brewing is and Taku, or behind Taku Lake there, that's right where Beadedstream is.
I've seen the facility. It's great. I love it. I love the line. It's I'm excited to see as it grows, as you fill it in more and manufacture more in there, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's so wild how quickly it changes too. In a matter of weeks, like the whole line will be reconfigured to just make it a little bit more efficient too. Maybe we're just new to this manufacturing process stuff, but it does feel like it's almost like a living organism in a way, how it's changing.
Yeah.
Exciting and changing quickly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Super cool.
So over the past year, I mean, how big is your team now? How big did it grow from before till now?
Yeah, there really only used to be like 2 or 3 of us who were in production, and we were focusing a lot on coordination between different vendors and the customers and all of that. And now we have these technicians that are very much dedicated on just building stuff as much as possible and just honing in on that craft. So Beadedstream has about 18 people total. And we brought on 2 technicians to focus on increasing this production capacity.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I know. So great.
18 people. I feel like when we first connected years ago now, your team has definitely grown a lot.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about, when you kind of touched on this a little bit when you were talking about the robotics club, but can you talk a little bit about like what skills you look for when hiring for Beadedstream, and what workforce challenges do you think manufacturers in Alaska need to address? So kind of speaking from a broader perspective as well.
Yeah. So I think culturally at Beadedstream, we might be a little bit different than most people. We're looking for like honesty and communication. And maybe that stems from like what we're trying to deliver at the end of the day is like data. Like we're trying to deliver truth. I know it's kind of a loaded word right now, but like this is what is happening in the world at this spot and this location. And that sort of permeates throughout the whole organization. Is we're very particular with like what we're saying, and we're not trying to like mince words or anything like that. So that's something that we're looking for. And that goes along with communication and just, the type of people that we're employing. In terms of you were asking about gaps in the workforce right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's actually at that senior level a lot of times. It's very difficult, for instance, to find like a senior embedded engineer in Alaska, because most of the people who are working on electronics hardware, they don't have a place to work here. So they have to be out of state. And because manufacturing is so hands-on, it doesn't really make sense to work remotely.
Right.
Yeah.
High skills.
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard that's definitely been one of the things that's hard to find in Alaska, and like that niche, like almost it'd have to be willing for somebody to move to fill that position, fill that job. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll come back.
Yeah.
We'll come back. I think a lot of people that I've met, same story, have left and then come back later on.
Because Alaska's such an amazing destination. I also left and came back. I love this place.
Yeah. Maybe we're like spawning salmon or migrating birds or something. Just kind of leave every once in a while, get some sun in the middle of winter. Yeah.
Yeah. Every winter, it's like, well, I don't need it. And then the summer comes.
And this is what I've been doing. Seriously, I was wearing shorts the other day and I was like, wow.
I've been really manifesting.
Yeah. This was great. Yeah. Alaska's amazing. So thank you for contributing to building the business here, like building Alaska more. We have really amazing things that are happening in this state beyond just like the mountains, right? Yeah.
So we want to kind of wrap up with different advice for manufacturers and business owners. So what advice would you give to other manufacturers looking to innovate and grow, especially in a specialized or remote markets?
I think it comes back to knowing your customer at the end of the day. Like there's a lot of different industries that exist in Alaska, and someone who's a manufacturer down in Houston is going to have a very difficult time understanding the challenges that we have here. So I think meeting with the customers face to face and showing them what you can do is going to be your biggest advantage over anyone else in the world. Yeah.
Love that. Know your audience.
I couldn't agree more.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's something that we've seen in the MEP is how things operate here is so different than how other states are operating and how just everything, how it all works. We're unique.
We are unique.
Yes.
But people keep coming back. So it's a unique, great place to be. But there's definitely unique challenges that you have to meet each other and know really. Make sure you're solving that problem for your customers.
Firsthand experience or firsthand communication, that networking, that connection, huge.
So if you could go back to when you had just started with Beadedstream, what's one thing you think you would do differently?
Well, I started at Beadedstream as a production engineer, focusing on like building the products. But I like to think about like maybe if we went back like 21 years ago to like the very start of the company, I feel like it would be to have a more consulting arm where we are helping customers sort of answer some of those questions about the data that they have. It's something we're getting more into now, and we're seeing so much of the value of that. It is what customers want at the very end of the day is the answers to their questions, not just the temperature data or not just anything that they're looking for. So if we could have done that earlier, I think it would have like sort of started this big flywheel that we're seeing right now. And right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to take those answers and we're trying to put them sort of online and automate them. So that way, someone wants to know when to open an ice road, we can give them a temperature forecast that tells them this is the day that you're going to be able to do that. So yeah, just getting started on all of that years ago.
Yeah. I mean,
that's okay. That's okay. You did it. You're starting. You're
here.
doing it. It's happening.
And you've gone so far, but that's always just like a unique perspective to be like, oh, but then also there's so much you couldn't forecast or see that you're living right now. So
that's awesome.
Amazing. No, thank you so much for being here. We're always super excited to catch up with you, catch up with Beadedstream, see the growth and success that you've had this last year. Amazing. And just always so happy to support you. Our last question we always like to end on is, why does manufacturing matter to you?
I mean, I think it comes back to the AI question. AI is going to be in more of our lives, doing more of these things that's on the internet, and manufacturing is real. It's like hands-on. I came in this last weekend and built like a simulated pipeline for one of our customers. And you just feel like so fulfilled as a human at the end of the day, like having something like, I did this. Right. And I feel like everybody should feel that feeling. Everyone should do some manufacturing in their life.
Yes.
Make it. It's everything
everything that we deal with is made. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I think sometimes we lose sight of that. Like, the
impact it really has.
It's going to come back. Coming back. Yeah. I love that. Is there, Erik, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to share while you're here while you're here? How can people find you, get a hold of you?
Yeah, we're here in Anchorage, Alaska. Feel free to reach out to anyone at Beadedstream. We love doing shop tours, factory tours, and talking about everything that we do. So reach out to us. I see in my name here, it says Erik at Beadedstream. If you just add a .com there, then you can email me at that, Erik@beadedstream.com, and I'll set you up with a tour.
Amazing.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, come and see what manufacturing is like in Alaska, Beadedstream.
Right in Anchorage. No, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Erik, and we're just so happy to be here and support you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to sign off here.
Bye.
That's a wrap on another episode of Manufacturing Matters. A huge thank you to our guests for sharing their journey with us.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow maker.
And want to take your manufacturing business to the next level? Visit alaska-mep.com and schedule a free consultation with our business team.
Until next time, keep building, keep creating, and keep proving that manufacturing matters.
Crushed it.